I'm Renee, and I run cooking classes in Vancouver, BC, as a registered dietitian and chef. We started out about 4.5 years ago, and I started out in my apartment, and now we have a workshop, and I have a food line called True Nosh. Some of you might have known me in farmers markets around town and some retailers in the lower mainland. And what I do is I love to share recipes, I love to cook, and I love to talk about food and nutrition. And that's everything, my passion. And also cook everything without sugar. My father passed away from diabetes about 10 years ago. My mom has hypertension, so I'm very conscious about using low sodium foods and also doing things with higher fiber and protein, which is what I'm going to talk about today. And I'd like to share a presentation with you from my screen, and I'm just going to share this screen. I hope everyone can see it. And here we go. All right, so Tuesday, today's Cinco de Mayo, so welcome everybody, happy Cinco de Mayo. I used to live in the States and it's a bigger thing there. But nonetheless, we're gonna start talking about some nutrition tips during this isolation period. Hopefully we can come out of it very soon. I definitely see a light in the end of the tunnel. So yeah, just a little bit about me. I'm a registered dietitian. I worked as a chef in New York City and in Hong Kong, and I recently got my yoga instructor certification. So I also teach some yoga before some of my cooking classes too. And I started a company called True Nosh. So a lot of people ask me, what's carbs? Like, everyone's trying to be afraid of eating too many carbs, but the reality is we do need it, and it's in a lot of different forms. Starch, sugar, and fiber are all forms of carbohydrates. They are just different levels of carbohydrates. One's more simple, one's more complex. So starch and sugar are more simple carbs, and fiber is more of a complex carb. So vegetables and whole grains, those are more fibrous. Those are more of a complex carbs than something like white rice or potatoes and bread. That's more of a simple carbs. And then now we have even more simpler carbs, which are sugars, and they are something like syrups and table sugar, and like jams and things that are made to sweeten things. So what I do is I've created my company to be a company that tries to help prevent disease, especially those who are afraid that they might get diabetes soon because their family has a history of diabetes or hypertension, just like mine, because my father and all his brothers have diabetes. That puts me and my brother in a higher risk group, which I've talked to in Vancouver. Many people have relatives and family members who either have pre-diabetes or are also suffering from diabetes. And that's the population that I mainly work with and help with. So what we can do with disease prevention is to slow down the absorption of carbohydrates. And by doing that, our blood sugars won't go too high and won't go too low. And we're trying to keep it at a normal level that our body can handle without too much disruption. So increasing protein and fiber and good fats, that's something that we can do during our meals and cooking to help decrease the absorption and slow down the absorption of sugars. All right, so proteins. Many meats, eggs, and tofu have a lot of proteins in them, but proteins can also have a lot of fiber. So if you choose things like nuts that have the peel over it, And lentils have high protein and also fiber. On the right side of the screen, you'll see some tempeh, which is a fermented type of soybean, but it is a whole bean and it also has some fiber and protein in it. Also pre and probiotics because it is a fermented product, and a local company does make tempeh, and you can find them in stores and also farmers markets. Eggs are great, tofu is great, and then meats that you want to choose from are things like chicken breast versus things that have higher fat content, which is mostly saturated fat in the animal products. So I would choose leaner meats, and you would want to eat them with more vegetables, and that would help you, just have a more balanced diet, right? So a lot of people also have been asking me about, well, what's the craze about sprouted grains? Well, how I think about it and how I can describe it to people is when grains sprout, they're actually at a heightened nutrition level. If you think about humans when they are about to have babies, many mothers will eat a prenatal vitamin just to get enough nutrients to help them grow their baby, right? So same thing with grains. It's the time where they're having babies, and that's the ideal time to eat these grains because they have the optimal amount of nutrition. All right, so fiber. Yeah, there's a lot of fiber in whole grains and vegetables. I mean, oatmeal and artichokes are shown here, but if you go to the grocery store and you shop in the vegetable aisle, try to go and have some variety in life. Pick something you've never cooked before, eaten before, and just go online and Google a recipe and try to make that recipe. It might surprise you. And also grains, like find something that you've never heard of, like some ancient grains like amaranth and teff. And also farro is quite easy to find nowadays. So those things can be easily incorporated into your cooking habits and diet. So another thing to prevent sugar absorption is to have some fat and oils in your cooking. So I don't like to pinpoint one particular oil. I like to have a variety of oils. So I always have some grapeseed oil and coconut oil, even butter in my fridge. There are different ways to use different types of oils. If you are vegan, coconut oil can definitely help with your baking. If you do a lot of stir fries, I would go with some avocado oil, grapeseed oil, and those are higher and have higher smoke points, so you can actually cook things with a higher heat without worrying them changing the chemical properties of oil. So something like an extra virgin olive oil you would save for like a salad dressing or a sauce, or when you use it to steam things. That's more suitable for that type of oil because it doesn't have too high of a smoke point, and it can change properties if it's cooked too much, right? Anyways, so yeah, you choose your fats and oils and try to have a variety in that too. Same thing with your fruits and vegetables. And another thing, I mean, you can increase your antioxidant consumption, but I mean, you don't have to go out and buy supplements. A lot of food items in our everyday shopping store will have antioxidants like dark chocolate, some whole berries. We have some goji berries here and some acai, but those are just things that are more of a novel item. You can definitely go with mixed berries like blueberries, raspberries, or cherries. Those also have very high antioxidants, as well as some kale and whole vegetables. I would go right nowadays, like if it's spring, there's more of a variety of fruits and vegetables now, but if it's in the winter, root vegetables also have antioxidants, especially those have a lot more color in it, like beets and carrots. Those have different colors, which means different antioxidants are represented in that vegetable. And I would go ahead and keep the skin on, so make sure you have very good vegetable brush or a way of cleaning it. And the skin actually has more antioxidants than the actual inside of the vegetables. So if you're worried about pesticides, a good scrub will do quite a lot of work. Or also you can dunk it in a gallon of water that has some baking soda in it for about 10 minutes before you wash and eat. Okay, so vitamins and minerals are also very important. There are different types of vitamins and minerals that are fat soluble, and some are water soluble, and they're all very important for your bodily function and to maintain your health. And it is a craze right now to adapt more of a vegetarian, a vegan-based diet, which is great for the environment, great for your health, great for your fiber intake. I mean, so many local companies are really trying to be plant-based or mostly plant-based right now, and definitely you should support those local companies that are trying really hard to do so. But some things that people don't know about is fruits and vegetables don't have enough like vitamin B12 per se. So there's a picture here of a nutritional yeast, and that is a fermented product, and that has a relatively good source of vitamin B12, and you can use it in your sauces. It dissolves pretty quickly. You can also add it to your baking. Just add a scoop into whatever flour that you're using to make bread, or even add it to pancakes and sprinkle it over your salad. A lot of people actually use it for popcorn, and it's a great cheesy flavor, and I just love to have it around too. So that's quite easily to find in grocery stores now. They have it in the bulk section as well as packaged food sections too, and they don't go bad for a long time as long as you don't introduce any moisture in the bag. All right, and other things that you want to be conscious of if you're trying to adapt to a more plant-based diet is to have enough iron, right? Iron is very important to deliver oxygen to your body and, to keep you energized. So you would want to keep doing things that you enjoy. And coupling that iron in a lot of foods have like iron, which is like spinach and kale, but without vitamin C, you don't actually absorb it as quickly. So trying to add some fruits like kiwis or oranges into your salad with some spinach can help you absorb. And then the last thing is really trying to enjoy life. Rest is very important. Make sure you have enough sleep and try to incorporate some exercise. I know it's hard right now. Most studios that I used to go to are closed, but they have online Zoom classes, online Facebook Live classes, and you can also still go out for a walk around the neighborhood. Just, be mindful of being distanced with other people. But that doesn't mean you should not smile at each other. That's not about that. So I've definitely experienced some people are trying to avoid people, even including, just, being more happy doesn't mean that you have to be too close with people. So yeah, this is my presentation, and I am actually very keen on doing cooking demos at my workshop, and we're gonna move now to our kitchen. I'm showing you guys two very, very simple recipes right now, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and we are back into our kitchen. All right, so let's move to the area where you can see what I'm doing. I hope everybody can see. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to write in the Facebook, I guess, Q&A area, and my helpers from the Disability Foundation that I'm so gracious to have here helping me with this live stream will answer you. And if they can't answer me, I will always go to the live stream and see if I can see if anybody else has questions. Okay, and if you have more questions after this live, you can always email me. The email is info@truenosh.com, and you can also go visit the website if you want to find out more recipes. All right, so I'm going to plug this in quickly. Okay, and we can start cooking. So I'm going to show you two recipes. One is a mixed grain rice that I talked about, or that we will actually be selling in our website very, very soon. And this is an idea of how to mix protein with fiber and try to increase your nutrition in your rice. And a lot of times people are afraid to use different grains, and I definitely encourage you to go and pick up things that you don't know the taste of. So we have white rice, which is a staple in a lot of households, so you can have that. We also have some brown rice here, some quinoa. Quinoa is from South America. Usually it's looks like little grains like this, but now actually it's grown in Canada, which is amazing. So it doesn't have to be trucked all the way from South America to be available in Canada, and it's a lot cheaper when it's grown in our country, right? So you can find quinoa basically anywhere, and there's a lot of different colors of quinoa, like brown or red, and they have just different types of antioxidants in there. There's slightly different types of nutrition compilation in different types of quinoa, but it's all great. And quinoa is a complete protein, which means all 20 essential amino acids that our body don't necessarily make, and actually don't make, is in quinoa. So if you're afraid of not getting your proteins, definitely add some quinoa to whatever you're making. Last week I actually made a tomato sauce, and I added some quinoa in it, and it was a great stew. So this is something that you can use to replace rice anytime, and it cooks the same time as rice, so which is very, very convenient. And then I have some flax seeds too. So this is great for fiber, but it also has omega-3 fatty acids in the seeds, and it gives a good crunch. So what I've done, I've created a mixed grain rice with all of these different grains, and then I just added it into a jar like this. What it is though is 2 parts white rice, which I'm going to show you, and 1 part brown rice, 1 part quinoa, and then 1/4 part flax seeds. And it also shows up really beautifully after you cook it, the different colors in the grains, and it's quite exciting. Another thing you can add to increase your antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties in your food is to add some spices, and I have some turmeric in here, and it turns your rice yellow, which is kind of exciting also. It doesn't add too much flavor, but it adds a lot of good anti-inflammatory properties to your rice. So, all right, so I have a pot here. I don't use a rice cooker actually. So cooking rice on the stovetop is very, very easy, and you don't have to be afraid of cooking grains without a rice cooker. So I said it's 2 parts white rice and 1 part brown rice. And 1 part quinoa. And then 1/4 part flaxseed. You can just get a handful or a small handful and just stick it in there like that. For flax seeds, you can buy the milled version or the whole version. I always like to buy the whole version because it can last longer without being without going rancid. Any grains that have been grounded up or have been milled have exposed their cell wall and their oils throughout the grains. So you would actually have to store things that are milled in the fridge in a dark area, in a cooler area, to prevent it from going bad. So here we are. I'm gonna give it a good rinse, and then you can just add water, or you can actually stock to cook this rice. And other things you can add into your rice are like frozen peas or frozen corn, and just add a lot more colors into it, and it just cooks at the same time. All right, so I'm going to put it on the stove, and the water you would use is going to be cold water. And what I've been taught early, very, very early in cooking is whatever pot you're using on the stovetop, you just have to make sure that it covers the top of your hand, and that's enough water to cook any grains that you have. So I'm going to put that on high. It's going to go on a boiling time period for about 5 minutes, and then you just turn it off to simmer for about 20 minutes, and that should be done. So super easy. It doesn't stick to the pot, whatever pot you're using. That method is pretty much bang on. Okay, so another thing I'm going to do while the rice is cooking is to teach you how to make a really simple salad dressing with whatever you have in your fridge. So I have some strawberries that I bought. You can use apples, you can use pears, you can use pineapples, anything that is a fruit that's lying around that could be, you know, not as appealing to eat fresh anymore, and like, you know, starting to wilt, and you can turn it into a salad dressing. All right, so this guy is actually going to keep beeping, so I'm going to try to turn that off. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have some carrots. I'm going to make a quick slaw with some cabbage and carrots. These are very easy to find now in the grocery stores, and these last a while, so you don't have to go to the store too many times to pick this up. And I mean, I've had these for about a week and a half, and they don't go bad. And it could be in the fridge for a few weeks before you need to use them. So I'm going to shave some carrots and some and cut some cabbage later. But for the dressing first, this dressing is super easy. I have some onions. You don't have to use onions. You can use garlic, or you can use shallots, whatever you want, or you can even just use powdered garlic and powdered onion if you don't have anything fresh. I have some ginger. This also is optional. If you don't like ginger, don't add it. And we have apple cider vinegar. This is my vinegar of choice, but honestly, if you have white vinegar, you have white wine vinegar, whatever vinegar you have in your home, that's fine. You don't have to go out and buy apple cider vinegar for anything that you don't, you know, use it for, right? So what the idea is about 1 to 2 measurements. So 1 part vinegar to 2 parts olive oil, okay? And that's really just kind of your basic dressing at any time of your, when you're trying to make a salad dressing. Okay, so I have about 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. And then that means that I'm gonna do 1/2 cup of olive oil, okay? Okay. And some of you have a blender or a magic bullet, and this is when it can be handy. I have a handheld blender like this, and this bottom can come out anytime for me to put it in the dishwasher to wash it or just rinse it. And I love this because it's a lot less work in cleaning a big blender that I don't really have the time and patience to clean out. All right, so now I'm going to take my onion. I'm just going to cut about the same amount of onion that I used for my vinegar, so about a 1/4 cup of onion. And if you don't have onion, shallots are fine, and also about 3 cloves of garlic is also fine. So you can interchange this ingredient here as you wish. And if you don't like the taste of any of these, then just opt it out. Just using a piece of fruit is perfect. So to be nicer to my blender, I'm just going to cut the onion into small pieces. And then some organic ginger, right? So ginger is great to add a little kick to whatever recipe. And also it's also a anti-inflammatory food, and it really adds a punch to your recipe. All right, so I don't actually peel the ginger. I don't feel the need to, as long as you wash it and scrape out all the dirt that's on it. As I said before in my presentation, a lot of the antioxidants and the fiber are in the ginger, and you don't want to lose that. Okay, so I'm going to add that in here. And then just strawberries, right? So you don't have to be too fussy with the strawberries. Just pick the top off. They're already really, really soft. Just cut them into small pieces. And it's really to add some color and flavor to your dressing. And if it kind of, if it just doesn't look pretty to eat fresh, then just blend it all up, okay? All right, this is very exciting. And because of the vinegar, you can save the dressing in your fridge for over 2 to 3 weeks, because vinegar is a natural preservative and it will make sure that the dressing is good. And then, oh, I forgot, we're gonna add some salt and pepper. So always season. I have some Himalayan pink salt here, about 1/2 teaspoon of that. And you can also add some fresh cracked pepper if you like. And that's it. And we're ready to blend. The rice is boiling, so I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. And then you just have to make sure that you have a timer for about 20 minutes, and the rice is going to be perfectly done. And that wasn't so bad, I think, maybe because I've done it so many times. But it's all about practicing cooking, right, and enjoying your time in the kitchen. So one thing you can add to a salad dressing, well, we don't use any sugar anyways. The fruit is sweet enough. But if you want to add fiber, if you have Metamucil, some fiber powder in your pantry, you can always just add a scoop of powder into any dressing or sauce that you like. And that will definitely help you absorb the sugar a lot slower. And you won't even taste the fiber. So this is a psyllium husk that I bought. You can buy this basically anywhere. Bob's Red Mill have a brand of psyllium husk powder. And this is exciting. I've been putting fiber into all my baked goods and dressing and sauces, and it actually helps thicken your sauces so you don't have to add any flour or slurry to your gravy. And actually just the fiber will work. All right, so this is going to be blended. I've used this recipe with a lot of different things, including beets that I've roasted. Those are great to add really, really nice red color to any of your salad dressing. So this is a lot of salad dressing. This I will keep for about 2 to 3 weeks. And that is just great for any salads, or you can actually use it as a sauce for any desserts too. It's quite sweet because of the strawberries that are in season. And if you like more of a savory thing, then you can add some nutritional yeast to it, and it'll add some cheesy flavor to your sauces. Okay. And in the meantime, I'm just going to cut some of my veggies and just toss the sauce in and make sure that it works and tastes good. And then that's all you have to do is to serve it with as a side dish or as a main meal. You can actually sprinkle some nuts or seed into your salad. And I would definitely recommend even some chia seeds or some sesame into your salad, and that would be great. Carrots just add a lot of different color to your salad. And, all right, just gonna slice this thinly. This is a great side dish for like fish and chips, or even like some roasted salmon, and even some baked chicken that you can do. And I just get a really nice plate. And I have some strawberries that I didn't use. You can add that to the salad also. Just arrange it nicely like that. And just a little drizzle on top of whatever veggies that you choose to have the sauce over. And I have a really cute little garnish that I'm going to add, which I don't see where it went. So right here on top. And here we go. There's your salad for my lunch.